What is going on, guys? Kind of fool here with my Walking Dead episode 12 review, Clear. Friendly reminder as always, spoilers. So if you have not seen the episode and I recently caught up to the TV series, I recommend leaving. Comic books I usually mention before. We haven't really gotten to heavy comic book spoilers in the past couple episodes since the mid-season started. So comic book, I'll warn you about the comic books, but remember spoilers. So yeah, walk away. But let's get right into it. As I usually say this, but my eyes are on the screen. The screen is huge, so sometimes I look at the camera. And also, I do not have the AMC summary synthesis, whatever you want to call it, full synthesis. So some parts might be left out sometimes, because they word theirs precisely, while other ones kind of skip some stuff. So, but yes, episode 12 starts off with a car with Rick, Michonne, and Daryl. Rick, Carl, and Michonne in a car, and they left the prison. They're on the way to make a run, and you find this out last episode, but they kind of just skip to them halfway there. They wrote a sign that says, "Aaron, we tried for Stone Mountain J." So Michonne is driving too. I found that very interesting. I don't know why she ended up driving. They didn't explain it. So, but they do see a person with an orange backpack, and he wants them to stop, but they don't, and they pretty much drive past him, and then after they pass him, they get stuck in the mud. So them passing the orange backpack dude just shows you how that group is now. They're not going to trust people that they just see by themselves. They're not going to help him at all. So also you'll find out what happens to him. So, but yeah, that just shows, this little shows what, what's happening in the group. Then you get all these fucking Carl and Rick look at Michonne annoyed and everything, and walkers are over the car. She just she's just like she's got no facial expression, and then you see she has a bracelet that reads Aaron. So that sign that they saw in the beginning, Aaron, we tried for Stone Mountain J, has some meaning to her, maybe. Rick tells Carl to cover his ears, and shoots the walker. I'm pretty sure at this point he would be used to the sound, but I don't know. I really don't care about that part. But he shoots the walker. They cut everything. They dig over to the walkers. They find a suitcase, find a dress, and they pretty much, what he does with the dress, he takes the dress, wraps around the tree branches, makes pretty much like, get out of the mud. Shows Carl this. Kind of another little important scene is showing Rick is starting to teach Carl things that will be needed in this type of world. Showing that he, he's got the little bit of part of him that's, thinks he might not make it. So they get out of the mud, and Carl blames Michonne. I guess you see a little bit of the season 2 Carl, maybe. And Rick pretty much backs it up. And Carl asks why Michonne came, and he asks why Oscar died because of her. And Rick pretty much says he brought Michonne on because she couldn't leave there with Merle. Merle is kind of messed up the plans, but also helping the group, kind of. I'll explain a little bit later, but he's actually helping the group by just being there. And Carl is getting, I guess, paranoid about Michonne. I don't know. And then you see the orange book bag guy again. Michonne actually heard the conversation, I should mention. And they get out of the mud and leave, and the intro starts. So they're still not letting the orange backpack guy go. So pans back in. They are in King County where Rick lived. So you know, he's going back there. He went to the police station, clean, nothing there. Rick is pretty pissed off. Michonne asks if there's other police stations. Rick says that he was the police and wasn't the big town. And Rick's got a couple ideas where he can get guns, where he's signing permits and stuff. And they pick up one bullet, another little tidbit of an important scene. Picks up a bullet and gives it to Rick, and he takes it. They're to the point where they'll just, one bullet they'll take no matter what. They just won't leave it because it's, you know, it shows you how they're in this situation. As they walk in town, they see burnt bodies with gas canisters, yellow arrows on, you know, pointing walkways leading to something. And they actually turn the corner and see on a big wall it says painted on the wall, "No guilt, you know that." And in the middle of the street there's traps. And this says "turn around and live." So somebody's obviously maybe here. It's booby trapped. Everything. They keep walking, and they find out that there's live bait. You know, it's everything. And Rick says we got to keep going. There's places ahead. So they keep going. They see the walker, and they see the walker get caught in the trap, and somebody shoots. He's in a mask, and he pretty much, Rick, Carl, and Michonne get stuck, and Michonne says she thinks she can get up there. The masked person is saying, "Drop your everything," pretty much. He said. At the countdown, gets to 7. Rick yells for Carl to go and starts firing at the masked man. They start shooting back and forth. Rick runs out of bullets, finds the one bullet that Michonne gave him, puts in, and he returns fire, and the masked man's gone. Michonne's on the roof, doesn't know where he is, and he suddenly shows up on the street, and as Rick panned down, and Carl shoots him in the stomach. They lift his shirt, and he's wearing body armor, still alive but unconscious. Taking the shot to the stomach, probably knocked the wind out of him. I don't know, just boom, knocked out. Take off his mask, and it's our good old buddy Morgan. He is finally returned. It was hinted before, like, the beginning of season 3 that he was going to return. I'm pretty sure it was the worst kept secret in the Walking Dead world that Morgan was returning. I've known this since the beginning, the middle of season 3, when it was kind of pretty much confirmed. So I didn't want to say it on video because I didn't want to ruin it, but Morgan is back. They take him to the building where he came from, and I've lost track. And Rick remembers about Dwayne, and Michonne reminds him about the booby traps. Everything's booby trapped in this place. The welcome mat, he had a whole setup in there. Morgan did, so he's ready for. He was a one-man army, you could basically say. They go upstairs when they carry Morgan. Curtis says, "No shitting you," you know. Gets a little bit weird. Another booby trap. On the other side, they see an axe covered in blood, so someone might have been in that booby trap. As they enter, they find a shit ton of guns. And Michonne asks if they're from the army, which I would guess. And Rick says that's not even like half of them, so obviously he's been doing some great scavenging, better than Rick in that. But yet again, he has a C. Morgan. I would say this year is probably almost 2 years at this point. I don't know the time frame from the first prison attack and stuff, so Morgan's still unconscious. They start to gather the weapons. They see writing all over the wall. Rick realizes that Morgan been here for a while, and he might have lost his spine like Rick did, but not like Morgan did. He was writing all the walls and stuff. And he finds the walkie-talkie that he gave Morgan. Rick is kind of upset. And then he sees Dwayne turned. So Dwayne was bit. What else? I'm just gonna speed through this. Rick's house was burnt down. I'm gonna summarize this pretty fast here because we're getting up here in time, and this was a pretty slow episode, if you ask me. Well, I'm glad it was, but I mean, Carl and Michonne actually end up going to. Rick finds out that Carl wanted to go see their house one more time, so we did. Well, they can't because it's burned down, duh. And Carl wants to go around and get a crib and everything for the baby. But Michonne and volunteers go with them. You know, they go to the store. Trying to read this pretty fast here. Morgan does not realize it's Rick at first, but then eventually does. I'm just gonna start speeding this up because I got some stuff to do, man. But yeah, Rick gets stabbed in the shoulder. Nothing life-threatening. Morgan's begging Rick to kill him. Morgan eventually finds out with him by showing him the walkie-talkie. And Morgan's angry at Rick because he guess he gave up on finding him, apparently. And Morgan explains that his wife, he could never kill his wife, and his wife killed his son. So that's the whole crazy thing. Carl and Michonne end up at a cafe. He ends up going in there for a picture of Lori, Rick, and him to show to Judith. That was the whole thing. He does drop it, but Michonne gets it for him. So showing she's loyal at this point. Rick says he's not gonna kill Morgan. I'm going fast here, summarizing. And he wants Morgan to come back with him, and he explains the situation and everything. And, you know, explains why he needs the guns and everything, and Morgan refuses to leave, so they do not kill him. So they're leaving that window open because I know the actor that plays Morgan, he's a very busy guy. He's doing movies, he's doing a TV show for AMC, so they're actually leaving it open. He does not die. But, you know, Rick takes the arsenal. Last time you see Morgan in this episode is he's setting up the traps. He could probably survive here. They're, like I said, they're leaving the window open for the actor. If the actor wants to come to the show, he will be a full-time character. In comic books, he's a full-time character. TV show, it depends on the actor's situation. So we'll probably see after the prison falls. We'll maybe find out what happens to the board. And you find out one of the two Michonne's walkers. I believe it was her boyfriend. She used to talk to them, and they were dead. So, you know, Michonne's basically saying, "I had the same problem as you, Rick." That's what the walkers in her back were her boyfriend, and I'm trying to find out. And you know, I think it just says her boyfriend in this one, but I think it was one more. And Carl pretty much condones Michonne joining the group. So Michonne, this is how Michonne gets in the group. Pretty much is saving the picture of Carl and explaining that she had the similar problems as Rick. So now they have a bonding moment. Michonne helped Carl, so now she's officially in the group. No more worrying about her getting kicked out. So as they drive out, they see the dude with the orange book backpack, whatever you want to call it. He died. They take the bag and it pretty much ends the episode. Sorry for rushing the end of it, but I got some stuff to do, and but it wasn't like a big scene every episode. Like every scene wasn't big, but there was some tidbits in this, in the certain scenes that were big, like Michonne finding the picture, and Morgan living. I mean, so in the orange book, the guy in the orange book bag was a big thing too, but he wasn't like a major part. But that is it for this episode of it. I did not catch the promo, so I will not be doing the promo thing, but I know that from the synthesis, the Rick and Governor are complimenting a truce. They might be, I mean, that's the synthesis, but I'm not going to expect that because I didn't see the promo, so there's really no point into what is it? Speculating, because I haven't seen real footage. I've only seen the synthesis. So that is it. Next week there'll be more time, more explaining. I bet you it'll be a little bit more fast paced, more action next week. So all the links below. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you next week. Links are below. I already said that. Like, if you liked the video, like the video. If you didn't, then dislike it. I don't know. Don't force you to like. Don't. But that is it for this week. So I will see you next. I hope to see you next week for episode 13, which I think is Arrow at the Doorstep. I believe the name of the episode. So we'll see you next week.